Welcome back, everybody. Let's get started. Episode 3379 of the show, the top 7 tips to shrink your stomach naturally, as well as reduce your appetite. I've given a bunch of shows like this one over the years on these top tips, talking about leptin and ghrelin and reducing hunger hormones and increasing that satiety hormone. But these 7 are brass tacks. These are the ones that I've seen work in my practice that are honestly easy to implement. You can do this, no doubt about it, and they're going to get you the results you're looking for, especially for summertime, a vacation, whatever it is, the occasion that you're looking for. But overall, reducing your stomach size is one of the top things that you can do to improve overall health, wellness, and longevity. I've done a bunch of shows on this as well over just the last couple of weeks, and one of those was how to get rid of more visceral fat. After this show, tune into that one. That was 3366. Let's dive right in though. Number 1 is this: prioritize protein at every meal. I know you've been hearing that a lot lately, but I'm telling you right now, most people go overboard. And the reason why I'm saying that you don't need to go overboard, nor should you, is that protein is also the most complex macronutrient to break down. So if you're someone that eats a lot of protein, like 12 ounces to 16 ounces of meat or so, or maybe even fish at a meal, you could be feeling quite bloated for hours or even that full day. So what many people see in my practice is a decrease in stomach size and bloating, because remember, your stomach is essentially a small organ right around the size of your fist or so that will inflate with food. And the more you eat, or the longer it takes to digest and the more that gas builds up in your stomach, you can actually greatly increase the size of your stomach. 1, you can increase it temporarily, and 2, you could begin to increase it, not permanently, but if this is a chronic-based situation and eating habit that you're in. So don't go overboard with eating 60, 70, 80 grams of protein at one meal. It's unnecessary. It really is. Stick to eating somewhere between 20 and 40 grams of protein per meal. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You don't start your day. I'm going to do another whole podcast on this. Breakfast is not the time of the day to eat 50 grams of protein. For most people, that is not only unnecessary, it causes fatigue. I don't want to get started on that, and many other things. Make your breakfast easy to digest. Then, as you start to move through your day in Ayurvedic medicine, and every other form of natural medicine tells you this, lunchtime is that time to start to have a nice meal. Of course, keep improving your digestion, but that's a great way to start to stack more protein in the day, especially with lunch and dinner. Those could be your 30 to 40 gram protein meals easily. And if you're over maybe 200 pounds, maybe those are 50 gram protein meals. But again, when you look at that, if it's 8 ounces of protein and it's 7 grams or so, that's 56 grams of protein, right? So you don't need 10, 12, 16 ounces of protein at one meal. All right, so increase your protein, but don't get overboard. Number 2 is this: load up on high volume, low calorie foods. What does that mean? These are foods that are going to increase satiety because you can eat a lot of them. So there's a reason why when people say, oh, I'm on a diet, I'm going to have a salad. Well, you don't have to just eat salads when you're on a diet. But the nice thing is you can have a huge bowl of salad. You can cut up all sorts of different veggies and you can put them all over the bowl. You can add some protein, some great maybe avocado or olive oil for your healthy fat, and you've got yourself a great meal. And it can be enormous. So if you're someone that says, I need to eat a little bit more. 1, I'm going to caution you to not go overboard with the massive volume of food that you put in your stomach, because again, all that needs to be broken down and digested. So 2 to 3 cups of veggies, your 5 ounces to 8 ounces or protein, you're going to get a healthy fat like olive oil. You can get a good amount of food. You really can. And that's why you never need to feel hungry. So it's a great way to be able to feel satiated without a lot of extra food, or I should say calories that might be causing you to gain the weight and maybe add a little bit of belly fat. Okay, number 3 is this: hydration. When you are consuming food, this is not the time to drink 16 ounces, 24 ounces, or a liter of water. Many of us have been told, well, you sit down to a meal and that's when you're going to consume your water. It's not the case. You want to consume your water between meals and about 20 to 30 minutes maximum before a meal. So have a nice glass of water 30 minutes or so before a meal, 8 ounces, 12 ounces or so, more like room temperature, not cold water necessarily before meal, because you just don't want to dilute those digestive juices as you're putting whole food in. But what I can tell you is this: when you eat your meal, you should only be sipping on a small amount of water. 6 ounces, 8 ounces maximum per meal. Depends on the amount of the food that you're eating. It also depends on the water content of the meal. A lot of people say you should never consume any water with the meal. Well, that's really not possible. Depending on the actual type of food that you're eating, you need to swallow some of this down. If you're eating a large meat or protein-based meal, you absolutely need some water at a meal. Now, it could be an herbal tea or something like that, maybe even a decaf organic coffee that you're using for a digestive juice enhancer, or you're using a ginger tea, which is a great one, or a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of room temperature water. All of those could work during the meal, but really an hour and a half after the meal, and then all between the meal and about 30 minutes before. I like the 30 minutes before because if you are someone that is just prone to having a big appetite, this will help to reduce your appetite at that next meal. All right, number 4 is this. This is going to help tremendously. So if you're someone that just says, I just need a good amount of volume per meal in terms of food in order to feel satiated, I understand. I get you. I am someone with a very strong appetite, and it doesn't work for me just with eating 2 small handfuls of food. Like, it's just not going to work. I'm not going to feel satiated, even though that will keep your stomach, small just from eating. It's not necessarily a great psychological way to eat either. So what I would say is this: chew. If you chew your food up to a paste, that means about 30 seconds of chewing minimum per mouthful. I know it's a lot, but it'll cause you to eat slower. You'll be satiated faster because the meal will take you longer to chew and eat, which means you'll finally have time to get those signals from your stomach, the enteric nervous system, up to your brain to let your body know, oh, we're full. Some people eat so quickly that they don't get those signals fast enough that actually they've had enough, right? Talked about that. There's many eating principles on this, but it's a really good thing to stop at 80% full. That's another tip, but that's just a bonus one because that's not part of my top 7 here today. All right, so slow down, chew that food. Your meal really should take about 15 to 20 minutes minimum to eat. I know it seems like a long time, but aim for that 15 to 20 minutes so that you can get those signals to the brain. All right, number 5 is this. We talked about protein to be satiated, right? I always say in my practice, if you're hungry an hour and a half after a meal, you didn't have enough protein or you didn't have enough fiber, or both. You should be getting 10 to 15 grams of fiber per meal. Really, I mean, you should. I know that seems like a lot, but if you're eating 3 times a day, you want to get 30 to 35 grams of fiber minimum per day. Why? Well, especially if you're eating protein, you want the fiber to help negate some of the protein-based qualities. Again, protein has a lot of great qualities, but it has some negative ones as well. You want the fiber to help sweep things through those intestines, create a little bit of bulk for the intestines. I'm telling you right now that fiber, I've done shows on resistant versus non-resistant starch, but all of this is important for the gut microbiome as well. Great for healthy levels of cholesterol, healthy levels of blood pressure, healthy levels of blood sugar. 10 to 15 grams of fiber per meal, especially if you're looking at I'm just basing this on a 3 meal a day system. So this is going to be really helpful to keep you satiated as well. Fiber and protein. What does that mean? The big salad again. But again, it doesn't have to be a big salad. I'm not a big salad kind of guy. I prefer veggies. They're a little bit more satiating. I enjoy them a lot more. And I can do 2-3 cups easily per meal. What does that look like? It can literally be a cup of rainbow carrots, a cup of broccoli, a cup of cauliflower. Bake it in the oven for 20 minutes or so. Add a little bit of sea salt or your favorite spices, and then a little bit of olive oil. You're good to go. Add that to your protein. If you need the starch, great. I usually add some starch. Purple potatoes, sweet potatoes, add those in. You've got a delicious meal, super healthy. Chew it up really well. Not only do you get all the fiber, you get the protein as well from whatever protein you want to add to that meal. Simple, easy, but also really healthy for the body, anti-inflammatory. All right, the next one is this. Make sure that you're timing, and I'll talk about this in my 7th tip. You want to be timing the meals, and you want to make sure that you are not riding the hypo or hyperglycemia roller coaster. That means highs and lows in blood sugar. So you don't want to start your day with a bowl of cereal and then feel great for 45 minutes and then crash after that. Be looking for more coffee, be looking for your next meal. An hour after you eat, you should not be looking for your next meal. All right. The meal before it needs more protein and fiber, right? So we want to make sure that's really important. So your breakfast should be satiated. I like to do a smoothie. I like to sip that over an hour. It's easy to digest, super simple, doesn't take a lot of my body's own natural energy. And if you want, you can add a little bit of yam, sweet potato with some cinnamon on the side. A lot of people love to do that. You could do some oats in the morning with, again, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of raw wildflower honey or manuka honey if you'd like for a little bit of a sweetener, not a lot. You've got the healthy starch there, the complex starch. You've got oats, which are higher in fiber. It's higher in protein. It's about 5-6+ grams per cup. And here's the other thing. I know it seems like, oh, this is crazy. That's a starch. How are you recommending that? It has been shown to improve blood sugar, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health. So again, I'm not telling you to eat oats, but for many people, they can be healthy if you're someone that needs to either maintain weight or gain a little bit of weight. If you don't, your berries in your smoothie, all of that are going to be totally fine for you. But again, keep things balanced. Remember, a smoothie is going to digest faster. 3 hours or so after you have the smoothie, great. We can have lunch, 3.5 hours, maybe 4 max. And then after that, whole food meal, 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours, right? 12 to, or yeah, probably 5 hours. That's all you need. 5.5 hours maximum. And then you have your dinner. You're good to go. Enough protein at that meal, enough fiber at that meal. You're going to be fine. If you're someone that likes to work out mid-afternoon or later afternoon, maybe you want a little pre-workout snack. We'll talk about that on another show, but an easy one to do. I'll talk about that in the next week or two on great between meal snacks. I don't want to get too overboard here today. The last one is this. This is really important. So it's funny, but if you want to shrink your stomach and you want to reduce your appetite, your body needs to know when these meals are coming. It will adjust. Believe it or not, it really will adjust. People that are not used to eating breakfast, one, make sure you're getting good sleep and detoxification overnight. If you're not digesting that meal from the night before, maybe you're eating it too close to bed. Maybe your blood sugar level is rising during the night, which we certainly don't want to do. So again, another reason to eat 3-4 hours before bed. Go for a walk if you can after dinner. Take your dog out. Just go for a walk with your partner, your spouse, your kids, whoever it might be. You're by yourself just for 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Allow for great postprandial glucose leveling, right? So we don't want to spike there after the meal. And then relaxing, calming 3-2-1 routine before bed. I've got a podcast on that. I'll link these up at episode 379 today, StephenCabral.com/3379. And then get great sleep, right? Good deep sleep, good REM sleep, wake up feeling refreshed, finishing your 12 to 14 hour, maybe a little bit longer intermittent fast. And then you have breakfast. Few hours later, lunch. Few hours after that, more hours after that, your whole food meal, you're going to have dinner, and your body will get used to this rhythm. Not only will it be used to it, but digestion will be stronger at those times. You will get less bloating. You'll get more used to eating those specific foods at that time of the day. And honestly, you're going to be more satiated. Your body knows it eats just enough food, fuels itself, a little bit in reserve. Do the same thing a few hours later. We don't need to be eating 6, 7, 8 times during the day, grazing throughout the day. That's not going to be helpful. It will lead to a lot of bloating later on and most likely a disturbed gut microbiome. So hopefully these tips were helpful. What we'll do is we'll link up all of the pertinent show notes as well as previous shows that might be helpful today at StephenCabral.com/3379. Take care, everybody. Wishing you all the best. Do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.